After a 2-week break and significant changes, the Gators are back on the field against annual rivals Georgia. On top of chasing their first top 5 win in half a decade, they're starting the Billy Gonzalez era. And with the national title out of the picture, it's all about bowl game eligibility. Gator Game Day starts now.
Welcome to Week 10 of college football. We are here inside Weimer Hall, the College of Journalism and Communications at the University of Florida, where the Florida Gators are about to take on the number 5 ranked Georgia Bulldogs. I'm your host, Haley Hurst, and alongside me are two very awesome analysts, Michael Tubbs and Matt Blenderman. Guys, I don't even know where to start this show right now. I feel like we've had the longest 2 weeks here in Gainesville, and I know we're about to break it down, but how are you feeling?
Guys, it's rivalry week. Leading into this game, every year, I'm I'm not feeling good. It's Kirby Smart. They've dominated college football. But as we get into game day and it gets closer and closer, I've got new hope in me. It is a new coach coming in, new system. The upset will happen.
I mean, you guys both said it. To say it's been a long 2 weeks, that's an understatement. You mentioned the head coaching change. I'm just really excited to see these Florida Gators finally get back on the field.
I mean, like you guys said, there was a coaching change. I mean, last time Gator Game Day was on this desk, it was just rumors about Billy Napier being fired. They were playing Mississippi State. They ended up winning just by 2 points, but come Sunday, Billy Napier was dismissed from his role as the Florida Gators head coach. But who filled in for him? Wide receivers coach Billy Gonzalez is now the interim head coach. That's right, I did say another Billy, but let's take a look at this full screen right here. Gonzalez has been a fixture on the UF sideline for more than a decade, since he first stepped foot on campus under Urban Meyer in 2005, but he's been all over college football, as you can see, serving as a wide receiver coach for 9 different programs. But focusing on today's matchup, Billy Gonzalez spoke to the media about how he plans to lead this Gator team.
You play for the patch, and I think that's the most important thing. The players, we play for the patch, you represent your name on the back of your jersey. And I think when you put them together, I think you get something special.
I mean, seeing that as a fan, you got to be happy. Teams tend to fall off, maybe hit a drop once head coaching changed mid-season, but he's really instilling in his players that they weren't here to play for Billy Napier. They're here to play for the patch on their heart.
What better to play for than the pride that you have in the school you play for? And like he said, the name on the back of your jersey, there's a lot of guys, even a guy like Miles Graham, legacy guy, he's playing for more than just himself, but we also got to talk about the coaching structure change that we're seeing, because Billy Napier went from a play caller to now Billy Gonzalez, who's taking on more of that CEO role, right? Ryan O'Hara now coming in, going upstairs to be the play caller, going from quarterback coach down on the field. Steve Spurrier Jr. is now working with the quarterbacks on the field. He's upstairs. And Russ Callaway, of course, still offensive coordinator, will have his input in the game, but now it is a coaching by a team and not just one guy.
I mean, you mentioned Ryan O'Hara taking over the play calling duties. He does have a little experience, as he was the primary play caller back in 2019 for Alabama A&M, but this is his first Power 4 play calling role. I will bring up that in the spring game, he called plays for the Orange team, leading a 10 receptions, 195 reception yards for Dallas Wilson, and a game-high 365 passing yards for Harrison Bailey. So I hope this Gators team can come out flying today.
And going back to Billy Gonzalez, he's been here, like I said, more than a decade, and he's building that culture of UF, and a lot of people have positive things to say about him. Even a former player and the current Hawthorne head football coach, Cornelius Ingram, spoke to our very own Nate Bogaray and Caroline King.
Thank you so much, Haley. We are here outside the Heavener Football Training Complex, where there's a new boss walking those halls. It's interim head coach Billy Gonzalez.
Yeah, Caroline and I actually had the chance to catch up with Cornelius Ingram, a tight end and wide receiver who played here under Coach Billy G during the Urban Meyer days. And, man, Ingram really only had positive things to say, Caroline.
Yeah, when we were talking with him, Ingram said that every single practice when he was here as an athlete, Billy Gonzalez would be out there with them. He would demonstrate every drill. And they even said that they would talk between teammates and be like, wow, he's got great footwork.
Yeah, Caroline, I don't know if it's breakfast time here at the football facility, but smells real good. Maybe the University of Florida was cooking with their selection of Billy G as the interim head coach. Ingram described him as a natural-born leader, and I think that leadership makes sense when you think about him going out there and demonstrating plays. And he also spoke to Billy G having this certain infectious energy, and you just kind of falling in love with Billy G as a head coach. Maybe if he can use that energy to create a connection with players, Caroline, you can prevent some of the worry here in Gainesville after you lose your head coach and end up keeping some of your guys that might have hit the transfer portal.
And Nate, talking about him being a great leader, Cornelius Ingram also said that Billy G is not only just a great leader on the field, he's a great leader off the field. He still keeps in contact with Coach Ingram. And also, Ingram's son, CJ Ingram, is now here at the University of Florida playing basketball. He still keeps in touch with him, still talks to him, and it's great to see a coach who still is involved with his players. He's so intentional with his players and still keeps up with them even after they leave this facility.
Yeah, in his opening presser as the interim head coach, he said the Florida Gators play for the patch. I mean, a football coach recruiting a basketball player, I think that's putting the patch above yourself more than anything else. And again, if he can maintain that level of selflessness and vulnerability that Ingram talked about when we were speaking with him, maybe, just maybe, he puts himself in the discussion to be the next head ball coach here at the University of Florida and can, again, establish that certain level of elusive trust after losing your head coach.
Well, we'll see how that vulnerability kind of goes onto the field, but in the meantime, Haley, sending it back to you on the desk.
Thank you, Nate and Caroline. It seems a lot of people have hope for what Billy can do for this team, but he's got quite an interesting schedule ahead of him. I mean, with Georgia this weekend, and then the Gators are on the road the next 2 weeks with number 7 Ole Miss before they come back to the Swamp to face number 14 Tennessee. That's about a month not playing at home. With that schedule, what is the path that Billy Gonzalez has to take to maybe potentially get this Florida head coaching job?
The path doesn't exist. He can't do it. And it's not because he might not be a good enough coach. It's because the lack of experience. Scott Strickland, the AD, has already come out after Billy Napier was let go saying, hey, Florida needs an elite head coach. Unfortunately, even if he runs the table, he just doesn't meet that requirement that Strickland is looking for.
I'm going to have to agree and disagree with you here, Tubbs. I do think and I do agree that Scott Strickland wants to bring an elite head ball coach. But if you saw that Gator schedule. If Billy Gonzalez is able to win these games comfortably, there has to be a world where we consider him as our next head ball coach. There just has to be.
I think Georgia head coach Kirby Smart might disagree with you, Tubbs, and might agree with Matt. Here's what he said to the media.
You know, there's a new voice, sometimes new energy, sometimes change brings about a spark. I'm sure they'll change some things up and not in disrespect in any way to what Billy did. But you know, sometimes when you bring somebody in, there's new juice there.
I still think Billy should be a little bit nervous. It's the first time that a UF interim head coach is facing a top 5 ranked opponent. And ironically enough, the highest ranked win under an interim head coach was against number 8 Georgia in 1984. So with that, let's take a look at these keys to the game here. Stopping Gunner Stockton. I mean, Florida's been struggling against mobile quarterbacks. 2, limiting those penalties. Georgia's the least penalized team in the SEC. And last, we need to see more creative play calling. Which one of those keys to the game stands out to you most, Matt?
What stands out to me most is 100% stopping Gunner Stockton. I've seen too many plays where the defensive backs on Florida do a good job of containing the receivers. Nobody's able to get open, but then mobile quarterbacks find a way to run and get extra yards. You see right here, nothing was open. Gunner Stockton scrambles out to the right and finds the end zone. Gunner actually leads SEC quarterbacks this year with 7 rushing touchdowns, and overall he's been one of the top QBs in all of college football with the number 2 passer rating at 90.7.
I completely agree, Matt. And especially when you look at a guy like Ron Roberts, he's done a really good job stopping passing quarterbacks, whether you're looking at Carson Beck in his time at Georgia, Garrett Nussmeier, Jackson Dart, who's now killing it in the NFL. You keep him stopped in the run game, force him to throw, that's when good things happen. And on the flip side of that, the play calling has to be unpredictable. It's got a new staff running things. You've got to make those changes. Like you said, with O'Hara calling plays in the orange and blue game, Dallas Wilson went off for it, right? You've got the weapons and the talent to do so. Now you have to get away from that Billy Napier playbook. You see it here, even as something as simple as a flea flicker. Hand off to Jaden Ball, back to DJ Lagway, give it to J. Michael Sturdivant or Dallas Wilson down the field. You have to keep Kirby Smart and Georgia on their toes.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the Gators attack, but we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, our very own Tyler Brody is going to give us a breakdown of the future of Everbank Stadium. Gator Game Day, we'll be right back.
Gator Game Day is brought to you by Meldon Law. With 54 years of experience, the only injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Meldon Law won't back down. And Gator Game Day is also brought to you by Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, locally owned, polished casual dining with a selection of farm-to-table, made-from-scratch food with flavors across Gator Nation. Spurrier's was built by Gators for Gators.
This is a history of APD, aesthetic print and design. The year was 2002, and these two created an apparel printing business in Gainesville. Casey handled creative, the artistic stuff. Jonathan managed logistics. He's the number cruncher. Their philosophy? All work is performed in-house. The crew at APD has printed more than 2 million shirts shipped to all 50 states. 2 decades later, they occasionally need a mediator, and now you know the story. APD, Aesthetic Print and Design, where we say printing is cool.
Welcome back to Gator Game Day. I'm your host, Haley Hurst, and alongside me are Michael Tubbs and Matt Blinderman. Guys, we've been analyzing what's been going on with the Gators the last 2 weeks, but let's take a look at the latest AP Top 25 poll. 9 SEC teams are in the top 25, and both the Big Ten and SEC are dominating the top 7. Next week, though, is going to look a little different as the college football playoff poll will be released. So how many SEC teams do you guys think will make the playoffs, Tubbs?
I'm looking at around 4, A&M, Bama, and Georgia. I don't want to just call locks, but they're looking real good right now. And then that 4th member, potentially an Ole Miss, Tennessee, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Matt, Vanderbilt is in the conversation of making a 12-team playoff.
I mean, you have to look at Vanderbilt in high regards. They've really proven that they're not the same old Vanderbilt team that we see time and time again. And I really think they have a chance to squeeze in. You saw that they don't have that many tough games, but they're able to beat Georgia. And if they're able to win in Texas, Vanderbilt has a great shot at making that college football playoffs.
Well, like you guys mentioned, Georgia is fighting for a playoff spot, but unfortunately the Gators will not be making the playoffs. But that intense rivalry between the two still exists. And over the next few years, the rivalry will take place in a different location. Our very own Tyler Brody is here to give us more on the Everbank Stadium future.
For nearly a century, Jacksonville has been home to the Florida-Georgia rivalry, one of the most iconic neutral site rivalries in college football. However, this historical matchup is going to have to find a temporary home as major renovations are underway at Everbank Stadium.
Everbank Stadium was built in 1995 over the original site of the old Gator Bowl Stadium. The new stadium would continue to hold the Florida-Georgia game, as well as introduce a new NFL franchise, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Prior to that, Florida-Georgia had been played in Jacksonville every year since 1933, missing only a single game in 1943 due to World War II, and then 2 more during Everbank's construction in the mid-90s.
It is known as Jacksonville's game, right? So it's a part of how we identify ourselves as a community and as a sports town. And having that game has been pretty pivotal in a lot of our achievements within the sports and entertainment world.
The $1.4 billion Everbank renovation project was approved in 2024, with construction beginning earlier this year and set to finish in 2028. That means that, once again, the Florida-Georgia game will be displaced to Atlanta in 2026, then Tampa in 2027, before returning to what is being called the Stadium of the Future.
And we wanted to make sure that whatever we did in terms of transforming the stadium would improve the fan experience and help retain those existing events and make it so that the schools and the fans that come to the Florida-Georgia game are as excited about it as Jaguars fans might be, and then also attract new ones or make it so that the users of the stadium can also continue to expand the creative ways in which the stadium is used. So,
the new stadium will feature modern concourses, sustainability upgrades, a canopy for shade and weather protection, as well as flexible seating, including 63,000 seats for Jaguars games, as well as over 70,000 for major events, including the Florida-Georgia game, which has been extended through 2031. Even though this game won't be seen in Jacksonville for a couple of years, the city's connection to this rivalry will not be going anywhere. Reporting for Gator Game Day, I'm Tyler Brody.
Thank you, Tyler. I have yet to make it out to a Jacksonville game, but maybe in 2 years. Each week, the coaching carousel for college football has continued to grow. I feel like it's constantly changing, with LSU being added to the list just this week. Brian Kelly was dismissed from his role as the head coach. And take a look at all of these openings. Which job do you find the most appealing, Matt?
What stands out to me is definitely LSU. Year in and year out, they're a top 25 team. You look at that list, they're the most recent team to have won a national championship back in 2019, and it seems like every single year LSU has one of the most talented rosters in all of college football. They're pulling from a pool of recruits that the top recruits of Louisiana always end up at LSU.
I agree with you, Matt, that it is the top job. It's a great program that can normally steal whoever they want, but I think they've set a precedent too high as far as what they expect out of the coach. Brian Kelly have been pretty successful there. I know he didn't make the playoff. He started his tenure there with 2 10 or more win seasons that he had. Who wants to go and deal with that stress? You're looking at a Florida team. You mentioned Louisiana in-state recruiting. Well, Florida in-state recruiting is even better. You have the same facilities, same resources, same budget. I'm looking at the Florida Gators having the best roster right now. I don't want to just ignore Penn State either. That's an incredible program altogether. I just don't think they stack up the same way that LSU and Florida do. But I think right now in this coaching pool, Florida has the edge.
Something I will say about Penn State real quick is they pull from a whole different recruits. They have the whole Northeast, and they are by far the most successful team in the Northeast, as last year they were a win away from college football playoffs, national championship.
What's ironic about the Florida Gators being so high up there is that they haven't been to a championship game, let alone won one, in almost 20 years. But that job role, there's been a lot of names going around. So let's take a look at, or what are your 2 top candidates?
I think we both agree on this, Matt, that Lane Kiffin and Eli Drinkwitz are the top 2 for this Florida job. I know a lot of people are throwing Lane out there for LSU. I don't think he fits the LSU mold that they're looking for. The success that he's had at a school like Ole Miss, which historically you don't win at Ole Miss, right? He's done a great job doing so. He's been at Tennessee, USC. He's spent time under Nick Saban at Alabama. I think he would do an incredible job at Florida. Grew up wanting to be a guy like Steve Spurrier. He's going to come in with the talent that Florida has. I think he could make a playoff within the next 2 or 3 years.
I mean, to say that you don't win at Ole Miss, look at Missouri. Missouri was never really a talked about team until Eli Drinkwitz took over and became the head ball coach there. He did struggle in his first few seasons, but we found out last night actually, after his first 3 seasons, Eli Drinkwitz hired an offensive coordinator, and since then they've ended the last 2 seasons in the top 25 with 10 wins and 11 win seasons.
Yeah, I agree. They're both incredible options, but I'm starting to look at a guy like Eli Drinkwitz. In today's landscape, the CEO style has been more successful than the play calling head coach.
I mean, I've spoken to a couple Gator fans, Gator students. They're kind of on that Lane train, but I mean, we'll have to see. But we're going to take a quick break, but don't you worry, when we get back, things are going to get a little hot in here as we're going to play our favorite game at Gator Game Day. Gator Game Day, we'll be right back.
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to Gator Game Day. I'm your host, Haley Hurst, and these are my 2 fabulous analysts, Michael Tubbs and Matt Blinderman. Guys, the extensive list of wide receivers for Florida is cut short again this week. Florida has added 2 additions to its injury report. Wide receiver Vernell Brown, who went down on a shoulder injury last game against Mississippi State, and wide receiver Aiden Mizell will be out for tonight's game. But let's switch gears a little bit, lighten up the mood. We're going to play our favorite game, Chomped or Swamped. Basically how it works is that I'm going to say a take, and then my analysts over here are going to chomp it if they agree, or they're going to swamp it if they disagree. Thank you. Let's get right into it. Our first take is Florida or Georgia. Florida-Georgia is the best neutral site game in college football. Guys, what do we think? What are we thinking, Matt?
I mean, I'm going to chomp that take. Two of the most prestigious schools in the SEC. You heard Tyler say just a few moments ago that this game's been played in Jacksonville for decades upon decades. I'm going to chomp this take.
It's an incredible rivalry, dare I say top 5, but it is not the best neutral site game because Army-Navy is this, so I'm swamping that take. It has to be Army-Navy. You're looking at, they have a tradition before the game where they do a prisoner swap where the students from both schools spend a semester at each other's, and then they kind of go back to their original ones. It's the armed forces. It's historic. It has its own weekend too. Like there's too many reasons why that's the best one.
I think that's a great tradition. I didn't know about that, Tubbs.
Yeah, you seem very passionate about that. I'm a little biased. I haven't been to both, so I can't really give my answer. So let's go into take number 2. Dallas Wilson has more receiving yards than Zachariah Branch, which is Georgia's star wide receiver. Tubbs?
I hate to do it. I'm swamping it again. Listen, Dallas is going to have a phenomenal game, but Kobe Young, Georgia's number 2 receiver, is also out of this game. So you're looking at both of these number 1 options, but I could also see Ryan O'Hara wanting to use more weapons and get everybody involved more than just Dallas. I think we're going to see a lot of Zachariah Branch.
I'm going to chomp that take, Haley. As I said earlier, Ryan O'Hara called plays for that orange and blue game. Dallas Wilson had 195 yards in that game. That's his first game playing in a Gators uniform. I think we're going to see that same kind of offense out today, and I think we're in for a big day from Dallas Wilson.
Back-to-back swamps from Tubbs over here, but let's get into this last one. Gators will make a bowl game. What are we thinking, Matt?
We saw the schedule earlier. I think I'm going to have to swamp that take. I just don't see a world in which the Gators find 3 more wins. They'd have to guarantee to win at Kentucky. You have to assume it's a guaranteed win at FSU, and now those other games, you're going against ranked opponents. These are tough games that I just personally do not see the Gators making a bowl game.
I know I've been the downer on this, but I'm going to chomp that take because they are making a bowl game, and here's why. Right, you said it, the Kentucky game, you have to win that if you're looking at it. FSU, Tennessee is probably the other one, and then you're left with Ole Miss and Georgia. But I said it to start the show. I've been down on this game all week. Florida's winning this game against Georgia. They're getting the game against Kirby Smart. They're breaking the streak of what, 4 or 5 weeks? I mean, it is 4 years in a row, excuse me. It's happening. This is the time for it. And with that, Florida will be making a bowl game this year.
I mean, I love this passion right here from Tubbs, everyone. But, I mean, I think Gator Game Day would love to cover a bowl game, all right?
100%.
We got to.
100%.
Well, thank you guys for all of your insight today. Don't worry, Gator Game Day will be back next week when the Gators are on the road to face Kentucky Wildcats. From all of us here at the desk, I'm your host, Haley Hurst, with Michael Tubbs and Matt Blinderman. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to our production crew for all the work you do behind the scenes. See you next time on Gator Game Day.
Gator Game Day is brought to you by Meldon Law. With 54 years of experience, the only injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Meldon Law won't back down. And Gator Game Day is also brought to you by Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Locally owned, polished casual dining with a selection of farm-to-table, made-from-scratch food with flavors across Gator Nation. Spurrier's was built by Gators for Gators.